Hello lovelies, how are you all doing? Oh my goodness, it feels like it has been an age. It kind of has, hasn't it, in a way? 2 weeks isn't an age. Anyway, I hope you are all fine and dandy and well. I'm well. I'm wiped out though. It has been a very busy few weeks for me. In some ways a bit challenging at times. Oh my goodness. Now, just before I went off social media, oh gosh, it was a good break. I needed it. I'll come on to that in a sec. But yeah, just before I went off, I said that I possibly would video things I'm getting up to at home. And I've done just that, but you're not going to see them not quite yet. So lots of stuff with the house, as you might imagine. You will see all of that as we go into July. So I'm sort of back, but not in my usual format. I'm just easing back in a little bit. One of the reasons, there were a number of reasons why I decided, let's have a little break from social media for just a couple of weeks, bit of breathing space. One, my head was I was too bamboozled, trying to think about too many different things at once and therefore not giving any one thing the real thought it needed. And I was trying to come up with an analogy for this the other day. I do like my analogies. And the best I could think of was to say, imagine if you're at work, whatever your job is, you're at work all day. 2 o'clock in the afternoon, you get a phone call, and the phone call is to say that your mum has had a fall and that they're going to take her off to hospital. It's not enough of an emergency for you to leave work. Oh, and by the way, if this is actually what's going on for you right now, I'm sorry if I'm bringing up bad stuff. I'm just trying to use an example. But yeah, so you stay at work for the rest of the afternoon. What's the quality of your work going to be like? Because you're probably going to be thinking only about your mum. Is she okay? I can't wait to get off work. I'm going to go straight to the hospital. Does the rest of the family know? Do I need to call people? Etc, etc. So that's kind of where I was at the end of May. Not with anything urgent with my mum or anything like that. Just that inability to focus on one thing at a time because there were too many things. And it's interesting. I've really enjoyed this little break. It's giving me so much more space in a way. Just get on with all the house stuff and really be in the moment and focus on it. You're going to see all this coming up in July, but really to be able to focus on things and actually enjoy the process instead of always, I'm actually having a honey and lemon because I feel a bit throaty today. Instead of always rushing everything and, I've got to film it, and then, I'm going to stop what I'm doing. I'm going to stop doing my, say, decorating job in order to attend to the video and get the video made. No, none of that. So that's been really good for me. But also, this is going to, let's not alert people too loudly. But one of the other reasons I wanted to have a little bit of a break was because, honestly, the trolling was getting crazy. It was just getting so out of hand. And I know people say, just ignore them, Vivi, sad lives, ignore them, sticks and stones and all that. But when you're being told multiple times a day, every single day, that you are basically worthless and hated, it's quite hard to live with that. And then also if someone leaves a comment accusing me of something that I haven't done, or for example, or they've completely misunderstood something, then in my head I'm having an argument with that person to say, no, you've misunderstood it. I don't do that. That's not who I am. That's not what I'm like. So these arguments. Anyway, the point is that all goes around and around in my head all day. I'm quite a sensitive lass, despite being quite, big and blousy and loud. So yeah, I just thought, well, you know what, if I disappear for a couple of weeks, maybe they'll get bored and go somewhere else and find someone else to pick on. I'm sorry for that other person, but so that's been incredibly, it's just been wonderful to not be told that I'm hated every day. It's really, really nice. And part of that has also been, it's this whole time off, and it's only been a couple of weeks, and it's amazing how much better one can feel about everything in just 2 weeks. It's also about that kind of headspace, to concentrate on the work I'm doing, but also headspace for some creativity. I've written 3 pieces. I don't know whether I'll ever publish them. That's not the point. The point is I've been sat at my desk writing, and that's great. I wrote a piece about a moth, a piece about an apple, and a piece about having a nap. Simple stuff. It's all been really, really simple and very much in the flow. It's interesting, quite early on in the 2 weeks, I read an article called, I think it was called Slow Renovation or Slow Refurbishment. And I've always been very attracted to the whole slow movement. I think it started in Italy in the late 80s, I think, with slow food, the slow food movement. And it's gradually spreading. And it's just a label for something that people do already. The idea with slow food is that it's the antithesis of fast food. So instead of going to a fast food chain, getting a lump of greasy horribleness in the space of 1 minute and scoffing it, done, on your way, off you go, back to work or wherever. It's the idea that we take time to find the ingredients. So we go to the market and we enjoy talking to the traders as we buy our fresh produce. We bring that produce home. We enjoy how the produce looks, the beauty and the colours and the shapes, the smells even before they're cooked. We spend time cooking that meal and sharing it with friends and family. And I know folk are going to say, yeah, but who's got that kind of time, Vivi? We can make time. Turn the telly off. We can make time. Or even if it's only 1 day a week on a weekend date, the traditional Sunday roast, taking time to enjoy actually preparing the food as much as the enjoyment of eating it. So yeah, the slow food movement. And then I read this article about slow refurbishment. I mean, I thought it was a bit silly in a way, but the point being made, I heartily agreed with about, it's about talking about, moving into a new home and renovating it, refurbishing it, doing it up. And it was talking about this sort of the contrast between Instagram ready and, these makeover shows we see on TV, and they're usually a 1 hour show. But that whole makeover may have taken a year to do, but we are so used to this idea of instant gratification, yay, done. So all of that's been in my mind as well, and reflecting on the fact that over the last few months, there have been a few people getting annoyed with me for not moving yet, which is, I find a bit odd. I don't know why. Yeah, because whether I move, it doesn't affect their life. I suppose what it's about is that they want to see it now. We're so used to instant gratification and instant makeovers. People just want to see a new house now, see it done up, and let's get on. But I like the idea of, it's a funny one, this slowing down thing, isn't it? Slow life, slow living, because it's not about being lazy. And I think some people use it, it's a bit of a misnomer for some people. Oh, I'm into slow living. Actually, no, you're into doing nothing, you lazy git. Slow living is about still achieving, still getting to your goals, still being creative and productive and making things happen, but it's about being in the moment of doing it. And it doesn't even have to take a long time. The slow doesn't relate to time in a way, in my book. It's not about the time, it's about the mindfulness of being in the moment when we're doing that thing. Slowing down enough to enjoy that moment for exactly what it is, whether it's raking leaves in the garden in the autumn. So instead of getting a machine, a leaf blower, and it's noisy and horrible, raking leaves, feeling one's body, feeling one's muscles working, feel the effort that it's taking, but because it's quiet, being able to still hear the birds, chirruping away, even the sound of the leaves on the floor. So that for me is what slow living is about. It's not about sitting on your backside doing nothing all day. It's about still doing your work, still achieving your goals, still being productive, but really being in the moment. So when you do a job, do it well, do it thoroughly, do it diligently. Lots of those thoughts have been going around in my mind as well. Partly because I've had that lovely little bit extra thinking space. Does that make sense? I hope that makes sense. So yes, this has been, it's been an incredibly positive time for me. I don't know what you will think when you watch the videos in July. That's my normal kind of video, showing you what I'm doing, chat. But in the meantime, for the rest of June, I've still yet to make one of them. There should be 4 videos coming out between now and the end of June, which are a little bit different to my usual fare. I don't want to say too much, but bearing in mind what I've just said about the slow movement and slow living and being mindful and being in one's moment and finding beauty in the most ordinary of things, and the most ordinary of things, objects, the most mundane of tasks that we do in our daily lives, finding some sort of flow in the moment, finding beauty in that moment. You'll get it. I sound like I've been to an ashram for 2 weeks, don't I? I assure you I haven't. I have not been on holiday. I wish I had. Actually, no. Yes, holidays are lovely, but I'm relaxed and happy because I've achieved the things I wanted to achieve, both in terms of boring stuff, to-do lists, and I've achieved what I wanted to achieve by way of just a wonderful, gentle rest for my mind. None of that Twitter and yapping and nastiness from the world of anti-social media. I've mostly ignored the news as well. I've watched the news a couple of times, so I'm abreast of some sad stuff that's been going on. But otherwise, keeping away from all of that, just being centred and getting on with my own thing, letting my creativity come out again. Yay! So, yes, is there any other housekeeping to mention? There's one little thing, one tiny thing. I'm going to mention it briefly now and then not again, and please ignore it if it's not applicable to you. I mentioned a few videos ago about I don't do sponsorship, I don't do Patreon, I don't do any exclusive content that you have to pay for, and if you don't pay, you don't get in. Don't do any of that. I have, though, conceded finally to the whole buy me a coffee thing. It's there. Look, if you have no money, ignore it. If you've got a quid, yay! If there isn't going to ever be, well, I don't know about ever, but right now there's not exclusive content somewhere else that you have to pay for. Everybody will be able to see everything, whether it's videos, photographs, images, short pieces of writing, Insta, all that, everything stays exactly the same. It's purely there for folk who have in the past said to me, I'd love to say thank you by buying you a coffee, a couple of quid, whatever. Lovely, thank you. But like I said, if you've got no money, if you're on a tight budget, ignore it. It won't change anything. You will still see all the same content. Right, good, that's out of the way. I know some people, there's probably trolls out there who are chomping at the bit now to have a go at me. But the fact is, you know, I work hard. I, you know, do my YouTube, shop, sewing, all those things. It's just that income has dropped fantastically. And anyone who says, oh, why don't you just get a job? I've got a job. I've got 3 jobs. And in terms of the actual marketplace out there, I have looked and there's nothing that I'm qualified to do or physically able to do. So it's not an option. The only other option would be I pack it all in and go on the dole. And that's not going to do anyone any good, is it? I don't want to be a burden to society. Not that, sorry, that came out wrong. People who are unemployed are not a burden. That's not what I mean. What I mean is, if I can support myself just a little bit, great. The options are I either do this or I'm on the dole. This is better for me than that. So don't be shouting at the screen, get a job, because I'm looking and there's nothing. Anyway, let's park all of that, because overwhelmingly at the moment, things are positive, life is positive, I feel positive, and more than anything, it has been really, really wonderful to just have a bit of time to expand here, to breathe deeply here, and to just be in the moment and enjoy it for what it is. Who knows how many days any of us have got assigned to us, so we might as well make the most of each one of them and enjoy them as best we can, mightn't we? Yay! So on that note, I'm going to love you and leave you. Like I said, for the rest of June, not what you're accustomed to. I really hope you'll enjoy them and just take them at face value for what they are. And then as we go into July, we'll be back to the usual stuff, and I'll tell you and show you about everything that's been going on in this little cottage in the sky. Getting it ready for passing it on to someone else. No, it's all positive. All right, lovelies, until the next one, please look after yourselves, stay well. It's really lovely to be back to chatting to you all again. Yay! Let's all be lovely and kind and respectful towards one another. Until the next one, cheerio.